you so much. Okay, so today's topic is I'll be describing in detail about the interim measures of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act, which comes under the Section 9 and Section 17 of Arbitration and Conciliation Act, 1996, and also I'll discuss in a few points about the Amendment Act of 2015 and 2019. So we'll go into the topic. So interim measures. What is interim measure is it is generally granted during before the pendency of any dispute or before the pendency of an award under on a dispute, and it is usually in the form of injections, specific performance, and pre-award attachments, etc. So, what is interim relief? Interim reliefs are generally like temporary and interim in nature, which is given before the final adjudication of an award or in a dispute. So interim reliefs. So for example, for you consider that a dispute between two parties is being held, and consider one party is like a minor child, also a party to is also a party to the dispute. So in that case, the court has to give an interim relief that the minor has to be because the minor will not be of certain age that she will not be he or she will not be able to understand what is the procedure that's being going. So the court or the tribunal has to take this into account, and in such a case interim relief has to be given. This is just an example to what an interim relief is. We'll also talk about it in detail. So the types of interim measures, reliefs which are the interim measures can be depending upon the parties involved and the context of the dispute. It can be divided. It can be classified into three types. Reliefs which are procedural in nature. So what is procedural in nature is that consider the dispute is in a property. So the property has to be verified by going to the place. It has to be inspected, and in such a case, it is an interim measure has to be given, which is procedural in nature. And also evidentiary in nature is when there are any evidences that is submitted to the dispute, and those evidences has to be safeguarded. In such a case, an interim measure to safeguard such an evidence has to be taken. So that is evidentiary in nature. And conservatory in nature is it has to be the subject matter of the dispute has to be conserved enough so that proper protection has to be given to it to safeguard from its own parties. So in such a case, reliefs which is conservatory in nature has to be awarded. So these are the three kinds of reliefs, which is that is procedural, evidentiary, and conservatory. So what kind of reliefs can be provided is that an interim injection. This is mostly a temporary injection that is being given, and appointing a receiver in case of any amount is involved, and making of an attachment order or any other interim order for securing the amount in dispute. And then custody or sale of the property in dispute has to be safeguarded until an award is being given. So these are the types of interim measures. So now we'll go into our the main topic, which is the interim measures by the court. Section 9 deals about the interim measures by the court, and Section 17 deals about the interim measures by the arbitral tribunal. So we'll see what is Section 9. The Section 9 is that a party, Section 9, subsection 1, which says that a party may, before or during the arbitral proceedings, or at any time after the making of an arbitral award, but before it is enforced in accordance with Section 36, which is the enforcement of an award, apply to a court. The clause 1 says that for the appointment of a guardian for a minor or a person of unsound mind during the arbitral proceedings. The clause 2 says that for an interim measure of protection in respect of any of the following matters, namely the preservation, interim custody, or sale of any goods which are the subject matter of the arbitration agreement, securing the amount in dispute in the arbitration, interim injection, which is most predominantly a temporary injection, or the appointment of a receiver, and any other interim measure of protection as may appear to the court to be just and convenient. The court, when it feels just and convenient, it can be appointed. The subsection 1 has been covered during the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, and this subsection 2 and 3 has been included in the Amendment Act 2015. So the section 2 says that before the commencement of any arbitral proceedings, a court passes an order for any interim measure of protection under the subsection 1. So any interim measure of subsection 1, it has to be covered within 90 days from the date of such order is being given, or any other further time as the court may determine just and convenient. And also, once the arbitral tribunal has been constituted, the court will not be able to entertain an application under subsection 1, because during such time, the court will find that the arbitral tribunal is competent enough to take up such an dispute, and hence the court will not be able to entertain an application. Which may not, thus the subsection 3 says that unless a court finds that circumstances exist which may not render the remedy provided under section 17 efficacious. So how this section 9 can be applied is that like it is being classified into like when the previous amendment, before the Amendment Act 1996 will be applied and the Amendment Act 2015 applied. So based on that, this is being I'm saying this. So the unamended 1996 Act would apply to the whole gambit of arbitration proceedings before the Amendment Act, just up to the proceedings into a challenge or an enforcement of the award. The crucial date to be determined is that the date on which the arbitral proceedings has commenced. So the date on which the arbitral proceedings is being commenced will determine whether the unamended 1996 Act would apply or the Amendment Act 2015 would apply. The main difference between the unamended Act and the Amendment Act is that in the unamended Act, subsection 1 only will be has been given, and this subsection 2 and 3 has been inserted by the Arbitration and Conciliation Amendment Act 2015. So based on this commencement of this arbitral proceedings, it leads to two possibilities: that if an application under section 9 has been preferred prior to 23/20/2015, which is the Amendment Act 2015 has come into enactment. So from that date, if the application has been given prior and the arbitral proceedings has also been started before the 23/10/2015, then the section 9 of the unamended Act will be in place. And if the application has been given prior to 23/10/2015 and the arbitral proceedings has been started after 23/10/2015, then the Amendment Act 2015 will be applied. So we'll go through a case law here. The case law here is that the Bhatia International versus the bulk trading. In this case, the appellant and the facts of this case is that the appellant and the respondent has been under a dispute that has been in an arbitration agreement, which says that any dispute between them has to be taken place at Paris. So that is the seat of arbitration. They have agreed in their arbitration agreement, and also accordingly there was a dispute between them. And when this dispute came into place, the appellant who went here, that is the Bhatia International, they went against this bulk trading SA, and they told that this case has to be done at Paris, but the respondent has applied that an interim relief has to be given. That since the interim relief they sought was that they should not sell the property in dispute to the Haryana court in India. The appellant told the courts that the court does not have a proper jurisdiction to take this interim order so the interim application given by the respondent. So based on that, the court has given judgment that the court has jurisdiction to entertain an application under Section 9, either before arbitral proceedings or during arbitral proceedings or after making the arbitral award, but only before it is enforced in accordance with Section 36 of the Act. The court says that even if it is being done, even if the arbitration is to be carried in Paris, the court has powers uh, um, to uh, to take up the application of the interim measure by the respondent. So once an award is passed, then in such a case, no application, an interim award can be made, was the judgment given by the Haryana court. But this Bhatia International has again appealed, and based on that, it was said that only a domestic award can be only a domestic arbitration, an interim award can be given by the court, which deals with the part one of the arbitration, and anything that comes under the part two of the arbitration cannot be dealt under the under the Indian courts, and only since it becomes a foreign arbitration case. So in such a case, only because the awards will be covered by the Section 4958, which is the Section 48 is the enforcement of an award under the New York Convention, and Section 58 is the enforcement of an award under the Geneva Convention. So based on this, and any foreign awards that is being given, the Indian coach has no power to deal with such cases, and any interim relief in such a case can also be not entertained by the Indian coach. This is what this Bhatia International and bulk trading case is bulk trading judgment says. And the Section 17 is the interim measures ordered by the arbitral tribunal. So the subsection 1 says that this is also very similar to the Section 9, but only difference between Section 9 and Section 17 is that Section 9 deals predominantly the interim measures given by the court, and this is by the arbitral tribunal. The court has the entire power to deal with interim measures only before the arbitral tribunal is being set up. Once the arbitral tribunal set and ready for the arbitration case, no courts can have powers to interfere with the interim measures given by the arbitral tribunal, unless the court feels that any legal issues might come in such an order. So Section 17 says that a party may, during the arbitral proceedings, apply to the arbitral tribunal for the appointment of a guardian for a minor or person of an unsound mind for the purpose of arbitral proceedings, for an interim measure of protection in respect of any of the following matters, namely the preservation, interim custody, or sale of any goods which are the subject matters of arbitration agreement, securing the amount in dispute in the arbitration, interim injection or the appointment of a receiver, such other interim measure of protection as may appear to the arbitral tribunal to be just and convenient. And the subsection 2 says that subject to any orders passed in an appeal under Section 37, which is the appeal against the award, any order issued by the arbitral tribunal under this section shall be deemed to be an order of the court. So since the court doesn't have any powers to interfere in the interim measure by the arbitral tribunal, any order given by the arbitral tribunal for such interim measure will be deemed to be an order of the court and shall be enforceable under the Code of Civil Procedure 1908 in the same manner as if it were as an order of a court. So how this act is being applied is that the Article 16 of the model law says that the arbitral tribunal may rule on its own jurisdiction, whereas Article 21 of the rule states that the arbitral tribunal shall have the power to rule. So such power given to the arbitral tribunal is also referred to as competence. This is Section 17, and before the Section 17 comes Section 16, which says that competence of the arbitral tribunal to rule on its own jurisdiction. So if there is an agreement between the parties that the arbitral tribunal has all the competence that it can take take what all has been said in its jurisdiction, then everything that has been said under the arbitration agreement between the parties, the arbitral tribunal will be able to compete based on what has been said in the arbitration agreement. So this principle of competence, which states that if there is a clause in the agreement entered between the parties, that dispute shall be settled through the process of arbitration, then the arbitral tribunal has the jurisdiction to rule over that case, giving interim measures to the dispute between the parties to the arbitration agreement. This interim measures given by the tribunal are temporary and provisional and will be operative only till the award is given, and after that this becomes void. If in any other case, the said that is if such clauses are not being included in the arbitration agreement, the said interim order given by the learned arbitrator becomes quorum non juris, which means that it is an order given by the non legal person without jurisdiction, and hence that interim order given by the learned arbitrator without uh, without such terms in the arbitration agreement becomes a nullity. So the case law for this is that in this firm Madan Lal Roshan Lal Mahajan versus Hukumchand Mills Limited, uh, the court finds that both on fact and law it is final, and the court cannot review the award and correct any mistakes in its adjudication unless there is a legal misconduct on the face of the record. So the court, I mean the one of the I mean the appellant applies to the court for interim order after the arbitral tribunal is being set up, but the court says that the court will not be able to entertain such an application until and unless there is a legal misconduct on such an order given by the arbitral tribunal. So when there is a specific clause in the agreement between these two parties said above, the firm Madanlal Roshanlal Mahajan versus Hukumchand Mills Limited, so the court will not be able to entertain in such a case, and hence, in the absence of such a clause in an agreement, the arbitrator cannot pass interim order even with the consent of the parties. Even if the parties to this arbitration give their consent, it will be dealt as ultra vires to the arbitration agreement, and hence such a clause will be treated as nullity. So the main difference is that the court, under the section 9 of the Arbitration Conciliation Act and the section 17 of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act, the power conferred on the courts is quite higher, because the court will be able to take into account all the parties that comes all the party in addition to the signing in addition to the agreeing parties to the arbitration agreement. The court has power to make any such orders to all those parties, but under section 17 the arbitral tribunal will be able to make interim orders only to the agreeing parties to the arbitration agreement, and no third party can interfere in such an order. And the other thing is that the act does not contemplate interference of court at the interim stage in the matters of jurisdiction of the tribunal, and or in challenges to the existence or validity of the arbitration agreement. So the interference of courts will not come into place once the tribunal has been set up. So once a tribunal has been set up, it means that the tribunal has jurisdiction over the arbitration agreement between the parties, and hence this section 17 it does not have the wide powers, but it has powers over the jurisdiction under the arbitration agreement. So the main difference is that under section 9 will be that's a wider scope, and under section 17 the scope is very narrow, that is only the parties to the agreement any interim order can be passed. In case of powers, section 9 has more powers and not limited to the subject matter dispute, but section 17 has a very limited powers to the subject matter dispute. So it has competence to rule only upon the jurisdiction mentioned under the arbitration agreement. So the any orders passed will be against can be against any third party as well as in the parties to the agreement. But here in section 17, it is only the parties to the arbitration agreement an order can be passed. So when it can exercise its powers is that the section 9 power, it can exercise, the court can interfere only before the arbitral tribunal is being constituted, whereas section 17 only after the tribunal is constituted, and the parties has no power to come in between. When before the arbitral tribunal is being constituted, the parties has to go to the courts to get to get any such orders. So that is my presentation. Thank you so much.